Hello everyone. I just want to make a short video with regards to this Rollei 35 TE, or that would be a Rollei if you live here in Texas. This little puppy's had a kind of a hard life, so let's get it rolling. My first point I want to make is that on a Rollei 35, before extending the lens or collapsing the lens, one has to make sure that the shutter's cocked. And let me quickly, although I don't do anything quickly with the Rollei 35, remove the back. And what I'm trying to get to is the guts right there. Alright, inside the camera, I don't know if I'll be able to show it, but let's give it a try. I have the lens barrel extended. What you should see is when I release the shutter, two little, I don't know, arms or little whatever will move. And at this point, the lens is blocked. There's no way to safely collapse the lens. And my theory on this camera here, someone either tried to deploy the lens tube outward or tried to collapse the lens tube inward with those things, with the shutter not cocked. When you cock the shutter, I'm going to try it twice. Here you go. When you cock the shutter, you should see those little arms or whatever they are inside there kind of release. Shutter released, shutter cocked. So the point of this ramble is that in order to collapse the lens, the shutter has to be cocked, and at that point I'm able to manipulate this little lever right here, and should be able to collapse the lens. And this one's a little tricky, so either I didn't cock the shutter. So you saw that it wanted to go in sort of, but sort of's not good enough in this case. It's once the shutter's cocked, it goes in. This one's a bit fiddly, and my theory is that it's fiddly because someone in the past wasn't paying attention to having the shutter cocked when collapsing the lens tube. And remember I said I don't do anything quickly on a Rollei 35? That was just putting it back on. Okay, so to review, I want to extend this. Just do it like so. And if I fire the shutter, it's real difficult to put the lens tube in or collapse the lens tube into the camera. This one is fiddlier than most I've dealt with. Now that's with the shutter cocked, I was able to collapse the shutter. Okay, second problem I've noticed with this camera, and I'm trying to race ahead of myself here. I've got the shutter cocked with the lens tube collapsed. On every Rollei I've actually worked with, I was not able to trip the shutter with the lens tube collapsed. Watch this. I don't know if you heard that, but I did. And to me, that's not supposed to happen. When the lens tube is collapsed, you should not be able to release the shutter. This one it does. Not a good thing. So leave some comments below if you know that's something that a Rollei 35 TE does. In my book, I've never experienced that before. Nitpicking. This one here, I don't know if I'll be able to show it. Now let's take the, I put a filter on without the glass, so I could put on my thing, but what I'm going to show you is the right at where my fingernail is kind of trying to trace there. Basically, it's supposed to have a little fascia in there, and that's gone. But what you get is the world's smallest lens hood. It's basically a UV, cheap Chinese UV filter that I've knocked the glass out, or in this case, unscrewed glass. And that's just so I can put this one on there. Okay, that's kind of like problem number 2 is minor. Problem number 1 is the fiddliness of your lens, collapsing the lens tube. And problem number 2, which I really think was a biggie, was being able to trip the shutter while the lens tube is collapsed. Third thing I've noticed is that while the light meter does work, I don't know if I can actually get my eyeball in there, but just playing with it like that, it's real easy to trip the shutter. So if I was to try to take a light meter reading with this Rollei 35 TE, I wouldn't be able to do it if the shutter's cocked. Hold on. Okay. All right. What I learned the hard way using the camera was that if I did not cock the shutter, I could use the light meter and voila, you know? So I would take my light reading, I don't know if you can see an LED in there or not, and then I would cock the shutter and take my exposure. So be able to use the light meter, which works, you can just not cock the shutter and you have a working light meter. Last but not least, what is nitpicking? Well, this is not really nitpicking. This is a flaw. Right here, this little, I don't know if you can see, it's pretty black on black. But when I move this, you see how the battery compartment comes out? That is the incorrect or the wrong screw for that, and it sticks out too far. So I find that if I'm using the camera in the field, taking it in and out of my bag, it's kind of a hassle because this will catch, and I have to go looking for the battery and battery compartment. The battery's kind of stashed in here. There you go. Okay. Final assumptions on this, and I hate assuming. If I was to use this camera, and this is how I did it when I used this camera. Oh, well, I only use it for a half a roll of film. I would, while I have, just put it in my bag, leave the lens barrel extended while in use. Now granted, if I'm going to put it away for a day or two, I'm going to collapse the lens barrel. But to collapse the lens barrel, make sure the shutter's cocked. A little quick counterclockwise turn, and you're good. The light meter is, it works, but you want to point it downward. If there's any sky versus greenery or shade in your image, seems that the light cell, which is on the outside, it's not through the lens. Light cell is right there. picks up a lot of sky, and you'll underexpose your photos. So my advice is, while you're setting the light meter, point it down towards the ground. I usually point it down towards the grass or bush or whatever, and then raise the camera back up and snap the photo. So what's the point of this long rant? This is a Rollei 35 TE after a hard life. It's still got some life left in it, but I thought I'd point out the problems of the camera, and maybe I'll have some images after this. So thank you for watching.